cool. It's kind of nice to be back again. I joined the board because Barbara was looking for people to make the board more diverse, and I thought it would be kind of cool to try to help out in that area. So that's all, really.
Fabulous. Neek dove in, and she is heading up with Kevin Brownstein, our CIA group, the CIA team, and you'll hear more from both Kevin and Neek in a little bit. Ed Hunter has also joined the board, and I don't believe he's on here. I can't see his name. Ed is a frequent lighting designer with many companies throughout the Bay Area, and we're thrilled to have his technical expertise on our board. He is working specifically with the city of Saratoga right now, hopefully implementing a new lighting package into the city. So that's kind of his working a lot of liaison between the city and kind of providing them some theatrical technical expertise as well. Dave Leon is a very familiar face both on stage and off. So he too has worn a ton of different hats for SBMT, and we're thrilled to have him on the board. He has been the historian, he has directed, performed, produced, pretty much loves to juggle all of the different things. And then Rainia Parks, I'm not sure if Rainia made it. She has been a performer for many years, and was in our production of Big River, and we're grateful to have her expertise to come in and help with kind of a variety. She has stepped into the big hole that Barbara left, and becoming our recording secretary. Sharon Peng is here tonight. Sharon, if you want to pop on. We're thrilled to have Sharon as part of our board as well. Sharon is a costume designer all over the place and talented in many different ways. And do you want to say anything, Sharon?
Just really excited to be here to see you guys. I love SBMT. I got tapped by a couple people to run for board, and I was like, yeah, for SBMT I would do that. So being really excited to have been part of the conversation, and really looking forward to see how we can carry theater through this time.
Yeah, and that is definitely something that all of the board members took on with gusto, as they know that coming up in the next next year is going to be a very challenging time for theaters kind of overall. So we appreciate them stepping up to that challenge, to the knowing that where the path ahead maybe is not quite as straightforward as normal. So thank you all for stepping up. Also voted onto the board this year, Dan Singletary, who is a longtime SBMT, again, hat of many wearers, wearer of many hats. Let's try that instead. So Dan has been sound, I don't know, it pretty much has done everything. So if you want to say hi, Dan, you sure can. And if not, we'll let you.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be back on the board. It kind of feels like I never left. So in a lot of ways I didn't. So.
Thank you, Dan, for everything that you do back behind the scenes. And again, we'll talk about some of the projects that you've been working on over later in the evening. And then voted back on, because we won't let him leave, was Jay Steele, who has been our board chair off and on forever, it feels like. So Jay, welcome back.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Everyone's seen me. They've seen all my hats. They're sick of seeing me now. Yeah, I haven't left. I'm still here. Very excited for the new people we have on the board. Very excited for Michael as chairperson. And there's a lot of challenges, but I really feel good about the group. It's in great hands. So I look forward to being in the crew, helping row.
Thank you. There's a boat joke in there somewhere, and it's, you know, I'm just not that quick on my feet. So with that news too, Michael Hirsch did step into the role of the board chair. Apparently he's just that crazy or good-natured to do that. We're grateful for giving Jay actually a little bit of a break, which I think was very nice, as well as Michael's ideas, who he has got plenty. Stepping into the role of Vice Chair, Dallas Carter stepped up to that challenge, and in case something happens to Michael, he gets killed by David Mister, I'm not quite sure, then Dallas will be able to fill those shoes. And thank you, Dallas. And I think that's generally the overview of all of the massive changes that have happened on the board. We're very excited kind of as a group to tackle the bumpy road, the uncertainty that it faces us. But with this team, with this group, everybody has really found kind of a niche of what they want to be working on, and the ideas that everybody's sharing, I think will really help us grow, help us. Well, I mean, I keep saying it again. It's figure out where we're going, where we're headed. Anything else, Michael, that I should be saying about the board at this time? Yeah.
Jay, you just might want to talk about, just mention the continuing members, the other ones that fill out.
Oh, our continuing members. Yeah, the other heads on the page. Kevin Brownstein is the head of or the co-chair of Community Inclusion and Accountability Group, the CIA. Jen Maggio is continuing on as our CFO. Steve Sammons is continuing on. He's working with the Organizational Development Group, and he works primarily with the surveys. Did I miss anybody? I feel like I missed somebody. No, I'm good. That's 12. I was going to have everybody introduce themselves, but we figured that would take far too long. So moving on to March through September, we had a lot happen. And it has been a fun, wild, and very creative journey. You know, definitely not expecting the unexpected is certainly where we've being open to pretty much anything is and adapting quite a lot. So we're going to start with the good news. I mean, kind of talking a lot about some of our successes over the past 6 months. Kind of our biggest thing is worrying about overhead shop space and the rehearsal space. Kind of our biggest win, we were able to renegotiate our leases on both of those to give us a little bit of relieve some of the financial burden. So a huge thank you. Steve Alhoff and Jen Maggio really headed that up, well, with Jeffrey Henson, our facilities manager, to make that happen. So we have a little bit of relief. There is, we have lowered leases kind of through the end of the year, and then we expect that will be able to continue on. So that's helped immensely. The eStudio programs, I hope everybody here has been checking that out. They are vast and different and super success. I mean, what we're really figuring out is the things that we're learning, and we've learned a lot. The biggest takeaway that we've received with the eStudio is how we're able to connect with people locally across the country and then even beyond and outside the country. It's been an incredible journey experimenting in this new format. It's a very simplified version of theater. You know, you want a whole different set, we can make that happen. No problem. It takes 2 clicks. However, it is really that is our biggest benefit. Our biggest takeaway is how we have been able to connect with different people in different ways, as well as just the types of information and the workshops. And I'm grateful to all of the people who have volunteered to help with our eStudio programs, from teaching, being a part of panel discussions and classes, as well as the Readers Theater and any cabarets. Our biggest hit, before we get into that too, was the Black Lives Matter movement. As I said, biggest hit, that's not really what I meant. It was very much of an eyes wide open. The We See You White American Theater and this SF Bay Area Equity Action Plan shed some light on problems that we had already, as a board, had been discussing. What the best thing about this pandemic pause for us is that we're able to address some of those issues and make steps in the right direction, so that when we get back to producing on the main stage, we will have a better policies, better practices, better procedures already lined up and ready to go. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about that later tonight. So the eStudio online programs, Michael, I'm going to actually turn this one over to you to lay out. It's a beautiful graph. And I appreciate all of it.
Sure. So what this basically says is over the last few months, we have produced dozens of different programs. The whole idea was how do we leverage the strength of our community to experiment in new ways in delivering programming to the community for ourselves and for our patrons that will connect us together, grow the community, try a myriad of different things, diverse kind of attack towards this, and produce something that everyone can find something in it that they can either learn something from or just enjoy or yeah, so what you see on the left there is just a breakdown of the different programs that we have produced over this time. Pretty equal mix of different things. So we hope that's what we've accomplished. The feedback has been extraordinary. Since May 8th, there's been over 4,000 different views. And so SBMT has been alive and well these last few months in a whole new and different way than we have previously. Some of the things that we've learned over that time is to survive during this pandemic, we're going to need to adapt and learn new skills. And it's wonderful to say that everyone has stepped up to the plate. The fact that Sara can stream to different platforms is fantastic. She's even looking to use Twitch this week, right? And it's like, so like, us old dogs can learn new tricks, and that's really encouraging to see. New material. This has forced us to go hunt for things that are not, let's say, your traditional bread and butter musical theater. So because of the type of programs we've done, the amount of plays that have been read, reaching out to people that normally we haven't reached out to has produced a large collection of new works that we can explore. It's built a culture of experimentation in this company. It has encouraged everyone to kind of reach outside their comfort zone and try new things to see what works, what doesn't. One of the things that I personally love is to see each program take another little step better as we learn along the way. We're not jumping right to kind of professionally produced, programs and all that. I don't know if that's where the company is going. But if we decided to ever go that route, we actually have people that I'm fairly confident could get us there. And so it's really lovely to see that. We've grown this company locally and internationally. We truly cover the South Bay and beyond. Being online, we are no longer restricted to the locality of a physical location to get together to see and experience programs together. And because of that, we have people auditioning from around the country. We saw from Berkeley, from DC to just everywhere. And so this is one of the things the board will have to grapple with. We're going to have our local community, which is the heart of the company. But we also are beginning to get a much wider, broader presence. How do we want to handle that in the future? So the board will be tackling that over the coming weeks. New ways to stay connected. We do I think it's 8 to 10 programs a month now. There seems to always be something that if you want to connect with the theater community, the arts community, you can do it during a time that makes it very difficult traditionally to do that. So we are very proud of that. And we've expanded who we are as a company. We do plays, we do education, we do panels with prominent people in their different fields. We host cabarets. We do fun game shows. We are exploring the talent and the expertise of our community and using it and sharing it with each other because we need to and we want to until we can be in the same space together.
Yeah, I mean, on those, on that, kind of echoing just what Michael said is, the exposure to new material for me has been amazing. I haven't read this many plays since college, and it's just, there's constantly more, and finding the right ones and matching the right ones. It's very interesting. We're going to be able to bring in new works and work on projects where we're a little bit restricted from having to sell so many tickets, and it's a very liberating kind of feel that this platform has given us. That was, I don't think when we started it, we had really even thought that these benefits were there, and we're sure seeing we're reaping the benefits of it. I love the fact that all of our Readers Theater shows, all of the productions have had people in all different time zones. That to me is just, it's incredible. And we do come together as a community as we would in a main stage show. The connection and the bond is still there. It's been very rewarding in for those productions as well. All right, so the Community Inclusivity and Accountability, we renamed this group, which was the EDI Committee, the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. That felt, the group, when we first met, felt that EDI was kind of antiquated more than anything. It's no longer, if anything, it felt like that time had passed, and we were looking for something a little bit more. So I'm going to invite Kevin and Nick up here to join me up here. We have got a great, thriving group of members on this team, and you can see on the slide all of the different members that are involved with the CIA, as we like to call them, which I love. They are there to keep tabs on not only myself in the decisions that I'm making for selections and staffing, but as well as the different branches, making sure that our overall aim is to create a theater where that is no longer promoting stereotypes, and striving as best as we can to be a theater of anti-racism and anti-oppression. Anti-impressions. We don't like impressions here at all. I'm sorry. Anti-oppression. So we are working on developing a closer relationship and investment with the Saratoga and West Valley community. And I'm going to let Nick and Kevin kind of take over and talk about this group.
Cool. So I guess I will start with the successes we've had with this group so far in the last couple of months. One of the first big ones was that we as an organization, South Bay Musical Theater, made the decision to pause and postpone our board elections in an effort to recruit a more diverse board. And I'm happy to report that as you saw with the board introductions that Sarah did at the top of the meeting, that was extremely successful, and we've got a lot more diversity brought into the group in terms of the board. The other big thing that we've done over the past couple months is engaging a casting consultant, my friend Vin Nguyen, who's done a fabulous job of helping us maintain accountability in regards to our casting decisions, but also in terms of our staffing for these productions. I'm going to toss it over to Nick.
Unmute myself. So one of the other things that we're working on is trying to make sure that we get a diverse production staff so that we have people of all kinds on the production staff so that they can put in their input about what shows we're doing and, you know, the meaning of things that somebody may not understand, you know, to help us be more authentic in that. We also were thinking about inviting diverse communities to our main stage and e-studio. People that we're not really connected with right now, but would like to be connected with. We're more around the, you know, South Bay, Saratoga right now. And we want to reach out to those other communities, you know, maybe East San Jose or wherever, where we can expose people to live theater who aren't usually exposed to it. One of the things we want to do with the youth program, because we were thinking about doing that as well for diversity and for inclusion, is to partner with other groups. So one of the things that Sarah had mentioned was maybe getting together with the African American Shakespeare Company and trying to see if there's anything we could do to make it, you know, to just make our programs, you know, more diverse, not just as in people, but not just musical theater, plays, Shakespeare, contemporary, you know, switching things up a little. So yeah.
I will add to that. One of the other things that we're going to be starting to sort of review the content, and Sarah touched on this a little bit, to make sure that the material that South Bay Musical Theater is presenting is content that is not offensive in terms of the inclusivity and yeah, that sort of stuff. I will also say that the CIA is planning on meeting monthly to discuss these initiatives and ideas and kind of come up with an action plan. And so if you're interested in being a part of that conversation, feel free to email Neek, and her email address is neek@southbaymt.com, or you can email me, kevin.brownstein@southbaymt.com. Beautiful plug. I like that. I see that hint that you dropped. So the kind of the big component too of the CIA team is our casting and accountability. So one of the first initiatives that we latched onto was to hire a casting consultant, and we found the wonderful Vin Wen, who is, I thought I saw him on this call. Vin, if you'd like to turn on your camera and say hi, you sure can. His input and advice has been invaluable on our casting for the past 2 shows, for Almost Maine and Book of Will. So we put up here, and again, as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm learning a lot about metrics and tracking. And so this is how we are really trying to kind of, this level 1 is keeping track of how many people have auditioned and how many of those are BIPOC presenting, that we can infer from, you know, their submission, and then how many that are cast. And so you know, just keeping track of that. And as you look at the layout above, you can see the improvement with Book of Will and Almost Maine already. Vin, is there anything that you would like to jump in? I know I threw you on the spot, but anything you want to jump in and just say, you're welcome to. We'd love to.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure to be working with SBMT again and coming back to the community. Yeah, I've been very, very proud of the work that we have been able to achieve with Sarah and the board, and, you know, the whole community have been very open to what my suggestions are as far as reaching out to the communities that we felt were missing at the table, the voices that were missing at the table, and doing the additional outreach efforts to make sure that those voices are invited and are included at the table. So we're going to continue to do this and keep track of how our progress, so that we can further hold ourselves accountable. And I'm very, very thrilled and excited about the future of SBMT.
Thank you, Vin. It's I've very much enjoyed all of your honesty and candor, and you know, being the whispering in my ear or whatever. Not even whispering, it's very tapping and being very loud. I'm super grateful for everything that you've done. To everybody else, as you notice this chart, the 3 of the shows have submissions that are not applicable. Those shows were all chosen before we, very early on into the East Studio, where it was just trying to get what are shows that we can do, what content can we put up. So that is why those 3 productions are listed that way. And note that that is not how we plan to continue. We do plan to continue to hold open auditions, open submissions for the remainder of the e-readers productions as we move forward. That is my intent. Will that always be the case? I don't know, but that is the intention, is that we would always have open submissions. And so we do invite you to submit, throw your hat in the ring, please. We would appreciate it. And the same thing, I'm just going to comment quickly on directors. Again, out of the 5 that have been produced, there were only 3 directors. That too is something that I'm noting and moving toward expanding our horizons. And I am in talks with a number of different people for kind of the next year. And believe it or not, we're planning out already January, February, March, April, and so on. So thank you, Ben. Again, pleasure, and I look forward to continuing to work with you. Development and fundraising. Oh man, development and fundraising. Dallas is our fundraising chair, and I'm so grateful for all of the work that he's done this year. So I have to catch up with my notes here too. So kind of an overview. We are, our first goal, so our sustaining donor drive has been incredibly successful. We're thrilled with the place that we're at. Let me explain. When we started this, we really truly, it was like, we know that we need to be able to cover at least a minimum amount so that we, in a year from now, 2021, when we're able to produce again, maybe, that there would be enough money left in the bank that we would be able to do. So our minimum goal of $5,000 was just so that there would still be funds in the bank, that we didn't totally deplete our reserves, so that we could put on a show that you guys would recognize as an SBMT show, still with quality and value and all of the attributes that we like to put into a show. We hit that goal. Woohoo! So now the red curtain goal, which is our next goal, is, and we are 75% of the way there. So it was huge appreciation to all of our sustaining monthly members, as well as the sustaining one-time donors. This bucket together has really, I mean, we're super close to be able to flatline. So the goal of the 9,000 is to keep our reserves as is and cover all of our expenses for all of the overhead for the year while we're dark. And produce, or while we're producing a virtual season. I guess that's probably the clearer way to say it. So thank you. We still have some ways to go. The sustaining donor breakdown, as you can see, it's pretty much half and half. You guys some of you want to contribute monthly. We appreciate that. Some of you prefer to contribute on a one-time basis, and that is super, again, appreciative in all of its different forms. We've had a number of wonderful donations come in from a variety of different pots. We did get the PPE loan from the government. It is a small little pocket because we just don't have as much of the overhead as one would expect. SB Creates has really stepped up and had done a lot of donations out towards the theater community, and we're grateful to them. We've had foundations step up, our corporates matching. Those of you that are out there, I know there's a number who are doing their corporate match. You have no idea what those contributions add to the whole it just, together as a community, we really can come together and survive more than anything. So I'm super wonderfully appreciated. Sorry, I feel like I'm saying the same 3 words over and over again. And I'm going to ask Dallas Carter to come on up here and or turn on his video and talk to us a little bit about events.
Thank you, Sarah. So yeah, like Sarah said, we've had so much wonderful from our members, from everybody, from our members, our patrons, so much wonderful donations. But because we do have some really exciting things that we're doing, we've got a little bit of the delta, and that's where the events come in. And so some of the different things that we're looking at is, of course, trying to figure out how we can do the tacos and tunes and do it safely. We're maybe looking into transitioning tacos and tunes into possibly a drive-in type of situation. And then we're also looking at some other types of fundraisers that we can do virtually. For example, we're looking at possibly some sort of a bingo, maybe auction night, a wine and painting night, where we can have some fun there. Maybe Braden doesn't know yet, but possibly a mixology kind of thing that I will be talking to him about. So some of the different fun things that we've gotten to do, and maybe in the past with some of the tacos and tunes, different events of the mixology and some fun stuff like that, and bringing it virtually to where we can still meet together. We can have a good cause for meeting as well, and help get us to our next plateau, and then be able to shoot us a little bit further beyond that too. And I think Michael is gonna come back up, turn his camera back on, and kind of tell us what that next little what it is that we're looking towards.
Thank you. Yes. So so why sustaining donor program? Lots of reasons, but some of the top reasons for embracing that as a core mechanism of fundraising is to be able to forecast. If we know we have so much money coming in on a monthly basis, we are not so reliant in the future on doing hit shows every time. Having a show that doesn't sell is very dangerous to an arts organization. And we are not shielded from that in any way. By having a sustaining donor program, that gives us lots of cushion to be able to expand the type of programming we do without fear. We can do the program that fits what we're trying to accomplish as an arts organization. Some of the other benefits of it is it democratizes fundraising. We are extremely appreciative of the few people that we get a large amount of donations because of where they work and the matching donations, or those few wealthy donors that love the arts and support us. And we have a few of those, and as Sarah said, we appreciate it so much. It helps keep us going. But we have such a large community. We have thousands of people that come to see these shows, and right now they can't buy a ticket and see our fantastic shows. But they want us to be here when it's safe to do it. And we don't know when that's going to be. We don't know when the county and the state is going to say, please, perform again. So we can't function without some level of control. By having this program, it allows our community to control whether or not SBMT is going to exist from a year from now, or 2 years from now, or for your children. If you want an arts organization in this area to survive this time, being a sustaining member, giving your one-time contributions is going to guarantee that. So Sarah talked about the minimum goal. That basically said, great, we can live until, for the next year, awesome. The red curtain goal says, okay, we're going to live for the next year, and we're going to pay all our bills, and we're going to have money in the bank. So as soon as it's safe to do a production again, we can do it. Fantastic. But that was before AB5. That was before the pandemic. We suspect there's going to be more costs coming up. And if we want to continue to produce the same level of quality of shows that you've become accustomed to seeing with SBMT and have grown to love, if you want to continue to draw the kinds of audiences and the kind of talent that we have brought in, the artisans that want to work for SBMT now, things are probably going to get more expensive. So once we hit our red curtain goal, that will be fantastic. We're actually going to need more. So the work that Dallas and his team is doing to prepare us for that is going to be essential. So what we're asking is that if you can become a sustaining donor, please do it. You're investing in arts in this community for the future. You're going to see a much more diverse amount of content and artistically satisfying, I think. Sara can't do it all by herself. We've been doing all of these programs and all of these things. She won't be able to do everything. So there probably were going to be more costs. So we're asking that if you can become a sustaining donor, $20 a month is fantastic. If you can do that. If you can do more, fantastic. Think about what you pay for your different subscriptions you do now. We should be part of that list. If you can do one-time donations, and hundreds of you have, please continue to do that. And SBMT will be here just as we have not stopped for the last few months. We're not going to stop for the coming months, the coming year, and whether it's a year from now or 2 years from now, we don't know when we can go live again, but we're going to be here.
By the skin of our teeth. We will be, and not even the skin of our teeth, by gritted teeth, we will be here. So thank you, Michael, for that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, where we might be headed in a little while, and a lot of it is unknown. Organizational development team this is the real fun team. They are handling our finances, handling surveys, again, garnering information. And Jay is the chair of that team. And Jay, come on up and have a little.
Hi there.
A whole song and dance planned. I said no.
These are to some extent kind of your backroom operations, but the difference is usually in companies the backroom people are not very good looking. Well, we're all the good looking people in our backroom. So the two main things we're working on, these are kind of the processes that keep the organization, keep the data flowing, keep the processes going, and are continually looking for ways to improve that. We came from the distant past, not too distant, very disorganized kind of, it's all in people's heads. And we've been trying to institutionalize more of the knowledge of the organization. And particularly since Jen Maggio has come on as CFO, a really large project to bring more of those processes closer to the people making the financial decisions, so that we have kind of cross visibility of what's going on financially, expenditures. We have the appropriate controls in place. Wake up, everyone. And we are also doing the surveys, and Steve Simmons is headed up most of those. And right now he's really busy he's working on supporting the census. But we're going to be doing a survey that's coming up for the eStudio programming, and get some feedback from a broader group of participants there that might help us with our programming in the future, about what people want to see. And of course, again, that's data that the board sees, and it gets circulated throughout the organization, so it helps everybody make good decisions. That, and was mentioned, doing our long-term financial planning. Michael made allusions to the variety of things we'll be able to focus on if we've got an even stronger financial footing. And that's a really exciting thing. Some of these programs are not big money draws, but they're things we want to do. If you want to do outreach to people that are underserved for theater that may not be able to afford it, that's probably not a money gaining operation, but it's one we want to do as an organization. And so we need to be able to have funders to fund the programs we'd like to bring to people. So organizational development is just all about doing this as best we can, getting the information we need, and constantly making an effort to make things better and more streamlined, so that as our management changes, the information's there, people can keep things running without stumbling when we have changes in board members, et cetera. So that's us. We're always looking for more good-looking people to be part of it. So
in a nutshell, the main thing that this team has been working on, we found out that Vendini is going away. Our box office has been around since 2009. So we did a little bit of research. We have and signed on just recently in Dan's back with Audience View, which will be handling our ticketing in the future. This is again one of these great times that we have some downtime. We can really get a smooth transition from Vendini into Audience View. We're looking forward to that and having a smooth transition. We've got a great agreement with them, and we don't. I think I'm okay to say that there's no cost to our overhead at this point until we start selling tickets again. So that's kind of a big benefit. But thank you to Dan and Jen Maggio, Michael, who all kind of really dug in and put this package together. It's really quite fabulous. Anything, Dan, you want to add to that?
No, you pretty much covered it. We signed our contract last week, and the next few weeks to months are just going to be spent doing onboarding. We have to get all of our data ported from our old system to the new system, and it's kind of a blessing that we don't have anything else going on to distract away from that process. So it'll all be up and running smoothly by the time we start selling tickets for live events again.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you. And thank you again for handling that. So yay, organizational development. Thank you guys so much. Vision and planning. They've been hard at work. We're going to bring Michael back up, and he gets to talk a little bit about our vision and planning team.
Hey, so the purpose of this team is to think ahead. Traditionally, again, musical theater world, you come up with a season. You would think of it as a year. What are some of the things we might want to do in the future as an organization, and how do we support the company? So this year has been a little different. This is what the last few months has been looking like. This is just a small sample of the kind of programming. And look at the beautiful advertisements. Doug, do you do all of these? These are just fantastic. But slowly he's been developing a look for our online eStudio, created a lovely logo. We've basically reinvented the company over the last few months and are going strong. And have been really proud of the diverse amount of programming and some of the things that are coming up. We have done about 8 to 9 programs a month. Some of the new things is, instead of doing these kind of 1 month planning segments, we're going to try expanding it and double it to 2 month planning segments to try to start looking a little bit more thematically, as well as continue the diverse amount of programs. As Jay alluded to, we want to do a survey to maybe hear from our community. We've used the best of our community to put programs forward to keep the community together, but now we want more feedback from the community to make sure we're giving them what they want and need. We're planning on developing a script club. We've already kind of developed a place where we can put all of this information, but as people are doing all this reading of all this new material, how can we share it more easily and then find material that we can produce in eStudio and then live on stage eventually. And we've begun formulating a vision statement, and this has kind of started with some initial discussions, some big plans for the company. And right now we're looking at the individual board member goals. With such a large number of new board members, we want to make sure that they're given an opportunity to pursue what they want to accomplish over their 2-year term as well.
their advice has been wonderful, and really what we are then looking long term is when we get out of pandemic mode, out of shelter in place, and when we can start, where does the future hold? Really, what happens to eStudio? It will continue on because it's just too valuable of a tool. I'm enjoying it too much. But we see how eStudio programming can absolutely support what might be on a main stage show and vice versa. So that leads us a little bit into the path of reopening, and we have a wonderfully clear path. That's pretty much it. Yeah. There is no clear path to reopening at this point. We are in discussions with a coalition of theaters to help kind of get some guidance from the county and to get onto the county's radar about what theaters can and can't do. Many of you guys are aware there's been inconsistencies in the messaging across the different theaters across the area. And there's a lot of confusion about how many people can be in a room together, masked versus unmasked. So we're working with it's headed by SV Creates, and as well with a number of their grantees is how it started. Who are coming together and just sharing what are the needs, where can we clarify, how can we first, what's the path for being together as a live streaming studio, which is where most of the theaters are experimenting with. How does that move into something like an outdoor situation? You know, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, is there drive-in possibilities? Can we all go to the parking lot at the Civic Theater and have performers up on the steps? Is that a possibility? It's kind of, we're at the point now where we're starting to ask some of these questions and really make some noise with the county. It is, for SBMT, more than anything, is safety is our highest priority. What was the line in the sand that we said we're not doing a season. We 100% canceled our season because there was no way to guarantee the safety of our performers, of our company members, and until we have fairly positive idea of how to keep everybody safe, we don't see how we'll be able to come together in a facility. We do see how there is options for live streaming studios, for outdoor venues, and so on and so forth. I think that is, so not only do we have to work with the county level, SV Creates is at the county level, and then California for the Arts is at the state level. So both of those groups will be advocating on the theater behalf.
One thing to also mention is the first bullet point of to kind of echo what we talked about earlier. Based on what our sustaining membership looks like determines if will also determine what we can do as we slowly reopen. So that's a really important point.
Thank you. So as we look down the country, the statewide, all the risk levels, theaters are not mentioned at all. We as a 300 seat theater are lumped in with the SAP Center and the Orpheum up in San Francisco, the CPA, they're all considered the same. So we're again trying to figure out how to be considered, being a small voice and in a very, very loud arena, a loud room. Wrong way, okay. And again, we're following kind of a lot of different similar facilities. If a church can hold an outdoor church service safely, can we hold a reader's theater outdoor safely? There are things that we're considering kind of along these same lines. So this is just a little glimpse of other places, other facilities that we're kind of comparing to be able to go to the county with a smart suggestions of plans. We also can really utilize our box office tool to help track, to do contact tracing. so, you know, we feel like we can come in, people are very used to sitting in their assigned seats. So there is ways that we can ensure the safety of both our patrons and our performers. Not right now, not indoors, but there are possibilities out there. We're not there yet by any means, but there's a path. There is a path. There is a path. I promise it will happen. It's just, we are noticing the more that we're hearing from officials that our pause might be a little bit longer than we expected. We optimistically had aimed for spring of 2021, and the rumors that we're having are now longer than that. And of course, our friend AB5 has really not disappeared. So again, this pause in our programming has given the chance for AB5 to have a whole bunch of adjustments made to it. None of them have been in our favor because, again, we are a very small fish in a very large state. The law that was recently, so on September 4th, AB 2257, which was the promised cleanup bill of AB5, was signed into law. It was passed by the state, and then Gavin Newsom signed it into law. It granted exceptions for a ton of different fields, and we're thankful that many people have had some restrictions lifted. It did clarify a few things for musical theater in specifically. It did clarify that musicians who were granted a number of exceptions, however, specifically does state that musical theater musicians are not independent contractors. They are indeed employees, as well as theme park musicians are employees. So it kind of, any loopholes, it's closed some of our loopholes. The fine artists, which is what we had taken advantage of, I guess would be the best way. It has been defined clearer as, and I'm trying to see if I have that definition right here, and I don't have that definition right in front of me, but it is anybody that works with their hands in creating things, but of their own free will. So if a designer said, gee, I feel like creating the set for Brigadoon today, and they went off and created the set of Brigadoon, and I said, oh, can I have that set? That would essentially fall into fine artist. However, that's not the way things work normally in theater. So there is still work to be done for AB5. And again, this has given us some breathing room to figure out, hope for more funds to come in, and hopefully the state will be able to provide some of that, as well as, you know, if they do consider any more exceptions. The ballot measure Prop 22 is a big question that a couple of people have reached out to me. I don't particularly have a say on it. I'm not going to say one way or the other. It is specifically directed for Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and Instacart. It grants exceptions for people who work for them to be independent contractors and of their own free choice as far as setting hours, as opposed to employees. So that's really what that is. Instacart, these companies have been, AB5 was aimed towards them. The California Supreme Court upheld AB5 towards them, and they are trying to still work the independent contractor angle. So you can do more research on that and decide how you are going to vote, and do, if you are not registered, please vote. Please vote. Please vote. Quick reminder of our company and vision plan, our statement, and our values. Everything that we strive to do as far as programming for the E-Studio, all of our decisions go back to our core values and our mission. What we are examining is, who are we? Who do we become if we are no longer a musical theater company? We are expanding at a rather astonishing rate. If you'd have told me a year ago that we would not be producing musicals, I would have laughed. But yet here we are. It's exciting. We know that this branch of E-Studio will continue. We know that we are enjoying putting on plays? How does all of these kind of big questions are what we're grappling with? And always would love to hear feedback of what do you want to see from us? How can we serve you better? How can we help you express? We have workshops that we started last summer that are branching off into new formats. We hopefully will be developing some new works. So yeah, it is, our future is certain that we will be here. What the future looks like, that's a little bit more of a shady gray area right now, and we're very excited to figure out what is coming down the pike. Michael, do you have anything to say towards that?
I think that pretty much sums it up. I think our community will tell us if we will be something more than that. I will say that the number of donors we've had, Doug has, how many pages do you have now, Doug? You've gone from 2 to like 4 or 5 pages?
4.5 pages.
4.5 pages.
From 2.5 pages in the She Loves Me program.
We have a large number of people contributing in lots of different creative ways. So if anything you should take from this, it's that we have seen this year as an opportunity, not as a, oh crap, we're done for. We said, great, things have changed. We're still serving the arts community here. The people are still here. How are we going to do that? And so that's what this year has been about, and that's what we're going to continue to do. And so it means change. And we think we'll be one of the companies that's going to thrive coming out of this. And so we're preparing for that. And so that's why we're so happy about everything we've been seeing from everyone with all their contributions. So.
We are super grateful. And now we will invite you guys to open it up. Any questions that you have? I know that was a lot. Oof. All the information. You know, as always, we are welcome for any comments, any feedback at any time. You have my email address. It's plastered everywhere. And you know, I'm grateful for any questions that you guys may have, any feedback, any thoughts, any ideas on programming, any way you want to get involved, anything that you want to tell me, I'm happy to listen to, I promise.
I noted that at the last board meeting, we actually talked about building on our mission and our values and coming up with more of a concrete vision statement as well. So that's in the works.
Yeah, and that is something, if that, again, is something that people are interested in and being a part of, all of these, the teams that we have kind of lined up, you can almost, pillars that are supporting our company right now, all of our big projects kind of get assigned to that group. It's really so that people can focus on their strengths and what interests them, as opposed to worrying about everything that is going on in the company. You know, that you match up your strength with where your interests lie. You guys are all good? Questions, comments, recipes, cocktail recipes?
You're doing an amazing job, Sarah. I just want to say that.
Thank you. There are days,
slow clap, everybody.
there are days that it feels good, and there are days that I you know, pull out my hair a little bit. But for overall, I have to say that this has been an incredibly rewarding, and you know, I contribute, or Michael did come up with the eStudio idea, and definitely has pushed this along, and I'm grateful because it has, more than anything, expanded my horizons, and really found some true joy in. I love panel discussions. Holy cow, do I love a panel discussion. So it's, anyway, I'm super grateful and am finding this incredibly rewarding. Thank goodness.
Anyone can come up with an idea. It's the execution that matters, and you have executed. So we acknowledge that. Thank you.
Yay. All right, do you guys just want to turn on anybody want to turn on their videos and say hi? We'd love to see that. I'm going to go ahead and turn off. I just checked on the Facebook page and I didn't see any questions.
Hey, Sarah, I had a question.
Yeah.
For when you're talking about kind of the slow reopening as far as outdoor productions, are you thinking of doing full plays, of doing cabarets, of doing just at what level of production or would be like the first thing to go if, you know?
The answer to are you thinking of that is probably yeah. I don't have anything concrete. I can tell you that we feel as a group, if for some reason they gave us a green light, we feel like within 3 or 4 weeks we would be able to get something like a cabaret, a Broadway by the Decade up and ready to go very quickly, as long as safety is ensured. So I have no promises and no guarantees, but I can say yes, we're considering it. Everything. I really do. There's a little fantasy of mine. I'll tell you guys, there's a little fantasy of a street theater production of Into the Woods, right in downtown Saratoga or downtown Campbell. Wouldn't that be fun? Just people running around. It's perfect. In college, you know, they held up experimental theater and street theater and all of this type of work that, you know, costs, that doesn't sell tickets as the epitome of what we should be doing. So I'm there. My college professors are so proud. We are, so, and what limits us a little bit is rights, you know, more than anything. So something like a concert, Andy, because we would just pay for the rights individually, we can do that after the fact, and it makes putting on something like that very simple. With any of the plays, if anything that's scripted, we have to get approval in advance, and that can take anywhere from 2 days to, but more likely, musicals will take up to 4 to 6 weeks to get approval, and plays are usually 2 to 4 weeks, somewhere in there. So there's that sort of turnaround as well. Concert, much easier.
So we've been monitoring the rights houses, and a few months ago they were touting the waterfall of shows that will suddenly become available for streaming and for, you know, live on demand and all of the fancy stuff. So just you wait, and we have seen a trickle of shows. So I've been surprised at how slowly that process is going to get more rights. These people have to be just losing money at a tremendous rate. And so I'm surprised at how slow it's going, but it has been slow.
Yeah. We're trying. So on that note, if I can plug a little something, we are doing the first show that was, or one of the first show that was available was Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. This Saturday night was supposed to be our opening of Joseph. It is also the exact 1 year of our Gentleman's Guide opening. So that is the significance of September 26th. We do have the rights for that to be video on demand. You can wake up bright and early on the 26th, run to your computer, sign up to watch Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. It is a $15 fee, but worth every penny, because you get to watch all of those wonderful performers, and you get to see the red curtain. What more do you want? I'll just spend an hour watching the red curtain. How's that? But do we have a themed cocktail? Kathy Swidkey, I'm working on it, girl. I am working on a themed cocktail. I guess we'll start with a Bloody Mary in the morning, if you're gonna watch it bright and early. Yeah. Good, that was my plug. And then on Tuesday at 8 p.m. And sorry, I do have it listed at 7:30 in a couple places. It is at 8 p.m. The launch or the Gentleman's Guide, the Gentle Person's Flipped, and there's more words in there that I can't remember. Cabaret is this Tuesday, and I got to watch the final product today, and it's also, we are working on cocktails for that as well. Good. Questions, comments? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off our live Facebook feed. Facebook people, we love you. Thank you. Woohoo. I understand that it was not doing so well for some of you. And then please, you guys, if